That is my case to be made for Jesus telling the truth, that he is the way, the truth, the life. So let me try to reason with you, all right? I think that there are questions that we human beings ask, rightly so, and I think every philosophy, even economic systems, and certainly religions try to answer. And here's the questions, you've heard them. Where do we come from? Why are we here? How are we supposed to live? What do I do with the shame, the guilt, the purposelessness that I feel? Where am I going when I die? So I would suggest to you that a religious system must answer all 5 of those, not independently, but coherently.
Yeah.
They can't contradict, they can't fall short. It's got to answer all.
Again? What are they?
Where'd I come from?
Yeah.
Why am I here? How am I supposed to live? How do I deal with my foreboding of death? And where am I going when I die?
Yeah.
All right? So if I find the system that coherently answers all 5 of those questions in a holistic way, my search is done.
Right.
I'm done. If you're, for instance, if you're looking for the lottery ticket, you know what the lottery ticket numbers are. You start going looking through lottery tickets. Once you find the right one, do you keep looking?
No.
Okay. So if you find the system that explains these 5 questions, your search for truth is over. All right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we can answer those 5 questions consistently and holistically through the person of Jesus Christ.
Right.
Bible says, here's where you came from, Matt. You were woven together in your mother's womb by God himself. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And you know how I know that? Information systems. Ha ha!
Computers, okay.
Okay, this microphone.
Yeah.
Did it happen by itself? No.
Yeah.
If I sat here and told you it happened over millions of years, you'd go, you're an idiot. Somebody made it. I don't see the microphone maker. I know there's a microphone maker because I've got a microphone.
Yeah.
Computers, they've got to be programmed. They don't happen by themselves. You're made by God.
Right.
I think that's externally and internally verifiable. It makes sense with what I observe, and it feels right that I'm actually made by God because I'm different than rocks and sidewalks and dogs. Okay. So you're made by God. What are you doing here? What's the point? Without God, there is no point. You can make all the money you want, but you're going to die,
right,
and somebody's going to get all your stuff.
Right.
And you're done. You're worm food. It's
right,
bleak, it's nihilistic, and that does not settle well with us because we sense there's more to life.
Right.
You are made by God for God, to live for the benevolent being who's all-powerful and almighty. And that means when you get a job in information systems, you're not just doing computer stuff and teaching people. You're actually working for God by helping his other children get smarter. So you're serving God. Okay, so there's those 2 answered. How are you supposed to live? Well, you can make up the rules, or you can ask yourself the question, has God spoken? And I think the answer is yes. How do I know? Because you and I are speaking, and I don't think the creation would be greater than the Creator. So God is a communicative God, and he's spoken to us through a book called the Bible. Now, you got to dig into it and see if it's accurate and verifiable, but for the sake of this conversation, let's just say your rule book for living is God's rules, the Bible. We can dive into that later if you choose. But then this whole issue about that nagging feeling. Now, I don't care to know the details of your life, but you intimated that living a Christian system is better because you don't have those feelings of doing things on the weekend that maybe cause guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Christianity deals with the guilt and shame problem.
Yeah.
Jesus takes your guilt and shame. You can't make yourself right. You need intervention. God came to earth to live the perfect life you couldn't, to be beaten and bruised and crucified on your behalf, taking the wrath of God on himself so that you, Matt, could be forgiven and you could have a cleansed conscience, which means when you die, you're going to go to be with your Maker, not judged by your Maker and cast into hell, but you will get to be with him because of what Jesus did. So now these 5 questions are answered harmoniously. They make sense. That is why I believe that Christianity is true, and I believe that Jesus was telling the truth, because none of these other systems can do all of these things for me.
Right.
Nobody can tell you you're going to be completely forgiven, that God is going to accept you into his kingdom. You can't know that with any other system but Christianity. And that's why when Christ said, I am the way, the truth, nobody comes unto the Father but by me, he was not lying. And that's also, maybe you remember this verse. He said, come unto me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden. He was talking about your sin burden, trying to keep the rules, trying to clean yourself up and be an upstanding citizen. Come unto me, I'll give you rest. My yoke is easy, my burden is light, because he takes it all away. And he grants you forgiveness. And now I have something called purpose. Now I am living for the one who died for me joyfully and happily, because he's the best being in the universe. So that is my case to be made for Jesus telling the truth, that he is the way, the truth, the life.
Pepperoni pizza for Pete, which in an odd way is a lot like the difference between imputation and expiation. Are you familiar with the difference, Pete?
I didn't order a pizza?
But it actually in Latin means completely, to completely atone. It's a Latin word, expiationem, and yet an action noun because it comes from the past participle stem of...